It seems as though I have some time to talk to you guys about the game. Oh man. Well, based on the title of this video, I'm pretty sure you guys are getting ready to hear some dirty things because it's only so long that the boy can go with absolute positivity without putting out some relativity. Not a word, I should have said reality, but that, no, it doesn't make sense that way. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the goods and bads of the collab, where they fell short and where they did good. So without further ado, skidamarinky dinky do, let's get into it. Alright guys, it's your boy Cash, and just wanted to start off with that this video is going to be 100% MFO. The reason why I want to start off with that is because there might be some differing opinions out there. So YFO in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, especially comment if you guys are feeling you want to add more to the conversation, or if you disagree with the things that I'm about to say. All good in the hood. But what I really want to do is, of course, most of the time you're like, do you want to hear the good news or do you want to hear the bad news? And I feel like most people always want to hear the bad news first. And since it's going to be most of the video, I figure why not talk about that? So there's a couple things that I wanted to really touch on as far as why I think this collab in general is did not hit the mark. I do think that it is cool that the characters are in here, and as you saw in both of the reviews that I've done, that both of the characters are very well represented into the game. I think that at least their look, their moves are really cool. But the problem is that that was the bare minimum, I think, for them adding any character into the game. I think that as far as them adding any collaboration, which is from any franchise that they could have got, that it should have been a lot better. And I think that one of the biggest things is that the characters from their original games are realized in this game, but they're not realized in this game. And what I mean by that is going to be the biggest thing that we've been talking about in a couple of the reviews, and a lot of things that were concerned about, is the fact that these characters are not an FC. They do not have FCs. They're not in the FC line, so they are inherently going to have worse stats and are unable to really be put into the game properly. Now, as I stated, the only thing that they really needed to do, even if, you know, it could have been here an event, I think that they should have had their own little one. And yes, usually an FC has a different skin. I think that they could have designed them. I think that they have the capability to design a character potentially, like as you can see Yuri in the back and Flynn in the back, and then Estelle when she comes in, and eventually they could have had them with lesser armor. They could have put them in, as far as I've been told, is that they also have different outfits as well. I'm pretty sure that they could have gave them a different type of outfit, or a popular outfit, or a hidden outfit that's already in the game. But in the bare minimum state that they could have did is put them in commoner clothes, like or something of that nature. Put Flynn in, not in his, obviously this is his I'm going to kill things outfit. Put them in a more common outfit, and then the FC was going to be them in the current state that you see them in. It could have easily been a flat black fake core. They also could have easily gave them a general FC line like we see in most of the FCs. The reason why they could have did that, they could have been the revive mechanic that Yuri has. They could have all had that. They could have all had the Flynn's HP healing. It doesn't have to be anything necessarily strong. It just had to be something that actually needed to exist in order for them to be put into the game properly. I've never seen, I'd have to say by far this is probably the worst implication, or how do you say that? You know what I'm saying, like being put into the game, implication, I can't think of it. But when I seen other games do collabs, the characters fit into the flow of that game perfectly. Good example, Knights Chronicles. When they did do the Ruby collaboration, the thing was that those characters still fit into their system. If you summoned dupes, you were able to dupe them up properly. If you didn't get dupes of them, you could slowly but surely, eventually they added the system. This wasn't, I don't think this was in KC initially, but then there was a way that you could then use, I think I forgot, were they Devilmon? I think they were, I don't remember, please. No, Devilmon are in Summoner's World, please forgive me. There was a way that you can upgrade their skills slowly over time, I think based on the color and you getting resources in the game, that if you wanted to prioritize those units because they were literally rare. And they also had the yokai watch, which I definitely enjoyed those units. Then they had ways to slowly but surely get those leveled up. But with this way that since they don't have an FC, the only thing we can hope for is that the next time around, a year later, possibly, or if they want to do a rehash of this in a couple of months or weeks or whatever, then they have some way of getting an FC, so then we can actually utilize them and actually have them proper. The only thing that they did, and I mentioned this before, is that they put them in the strongest signature force line in the Wasted Red, but that was intentional. Like, so that's like, I think that it would have been more cooler if each one of them did not sit in Wasted Red. I don't mind that they're in Wasted Red, but then it would have been nice if there was one from the Non-Front Frosty, Astoris Republic, Greenland, Lenobre, like, you know, because there's a lot of characters in the Tales series. I don't know if they're only licensed to go from Tales as Vesperia, but I would have been cool if, you know, maybe they are going to keep diving into it. But to me, it really shows pretty much a lack of, I don't know, like a thought on the dev team not really putting them into the system that the game is in. I think that even if I go to Epic 7 and their collaboration with Guilty Gear, you can literally level up all the skills in the same system that you level up any other limited based character, because even in Epic 7 they have limited characters. So yes, you could legitimately get a limited character and then still put them into the same systems as a dupe. I think you get every month or so, I think, if I'm not mistaken, so that you could even utilize the dupe system and dupe a character that if you would, like, if Yuri's my favorite character and time passes on after this collaboration, I have no way of getting extra dupes transcending them. If I wanted him to be elemental enhanced, I have no way of doing that because there's currently no system in the game that does that. But since other games have already had the quality of life of that, and again, looks like they did not prepare properly for the collab in Exos Heroes' current system of leveling and upgrading units, and I think that that's really, really bad. It shows that there's a disconnect here, and I think that that is a huge issue as far as when you're doing a collaboration. The second thing, that was the big first thing, right, is that the only story-based thing I feel is just this core raid. The core raid is the only thing that, you know, that they do as far as like adding a different little story, little spice or anything like that. But the core raid is very short. Even if you were to read everything and really try to get indulged into the story, it's still a very short thing. You fight all three of them and it's kind of over. When I'm going to use Epic 7 again as an example here, and I don't mean to say like they need to do the same thing as Epic 7, but when something is done right, you do it right or better. I'm just saying that's how you should normally think about yourself and other people and other things in life. If you see something done well, you don't want to do shittier than that, because then everyone's going to be like, well, you didn't even do that. Again, the bare minimum. So in Epic 7, when they do pretty much any addition to their game, they usually do a side story kind of thing, and which is very similar to the core raid, but it's usually longer for bigger things. Like a Halloween thing is like a 2-3 week long thing. It's a big thing in that game when there is a bigger event. This is supposed to be a big event. In turn, Epic 7's collabs are long. They're very long, and they're about 2-3 weeks in total. So this one, we're getting 2 of the characters immediately within the first week, and then the next week preceding this, we get in the last character. As far as events, all there are is a bunch of login stuff, and I think to go get the gift in the dock station or whatever the heck that is, and that's really it. I feel like that just doesn't really bring in the characters. I think the only thing that I could is if I wanted to read through there, but the game doesn't really drive you into it, and you could blame me on that. That's why I said YFOs in the comment section below. Maybe it's my fault that I didn't read out the Tales of Vesperia story, because usually the core raids have shown me in the past that it's not that relevant, and it also could be because I'm not too familiar with characters that I did not care. And as far as Guilty Gear coming into Epic 7, I did have a little bit more emotion towards that, because I was like, oh, I know Guilty Gear, I know a little bit about it. I wonder how they're gonna do it. And I was also very, very attached to the Epic 7 lore. You guys would know if you're followers of the channel for a while. I was very heavily into the lore of Epic 7. I really loved it. So the lore of Exos Heroes has to do with them pretty much gathering these dragon relics and things of that nature, and they kind of put a pause on that, and then now it's Awakened Xeon, and so pretty much I'd have to say I'm not too enthralled with the story at the moment. But that also could tie into why I didn't care to even look at how the collab units intertwine into it, because I just don't, it doesn't really, to me, fit that well, because all the other core raids, all the other FC lines are just different dimensional nonsense, and it just never really ties in. There's nothing solid. Like, there's no FC line so far that is actually relevant to the story that they've been telling, so it just doesn't really mesh well when you do a collab. The world is so all over the place. Is this them from a different dimension, aka it doesn't matter, or does it actually tie into the game where you can literally somewhat see that this collab could have happened in this game's world? And I think that that's important, because I could see it in Epic 7, you know, the way that they outlined it, that they were kind of teleported there, and you kind of, oh well, you know, we're here, we need to deal, and then they go back to their world in a proper way. So that's gonna be my biggest two gripes, I'll have to say, as far as them not really hitting the mark on the collaboration station. And I think that that's really bad, and I feel like a lot of people are going to feel that, because right now, instead of, you know, you do your dailies like you normally been doing, then you're gonna come here, fight as much as you can, and then you're just gonna come and clear out the shop. Now, I will have to say, like I said, the bad news comes first, but the good news, I would have to say, is the core raid. The way that they did the core raid in this specific example of the collaboration, I do think that it was done pretty good. The reason why I'm gonna say that also is, I don't have an example and I already refreshed it, is that quality of life, I do like that there are more options of the fragments that pop here. I've overheard, I remember, I think I was in one of Dreadnought's video, he said that he didn't see any of them. I forgot, I think it was the last core raid that was available, he didn't see any at all. And I do think that that's bad. I feel like there should be one, like almost in every refresh, there should be a fragment for you to get, but they were kind of expensive. So as far as like you being able to afford them, I think right now they're 2,400, but before they're like 7,200, and it would be a little bit hefty than if you had it in the shop. As you can see right now, it's 4 hours left. So if I didn't have that available, I wouldn't have been able, you know, I'm like, damn, I'd be scrambling, using up a lot of resources trying to get as much as I can. But now it's a little bit more lenient. Now that could be a bad thing, because I think that when it was 7,200, you progress faster, but I do like that I'm getting a lot of fragments a lot of the time. So I do like it. You don't have to spend too much Levi stones on it, but at the same time, it's like a kind of a good but a bad. The Levi stones are not really used for anything else, so giving us a reason to utilize them in some way, shape, or form is inherently not bad at all, in my opinion, either. So us having to have 7,200 on task to get, I even forgot how much it got. I think you got like 10 or something. That it was a good juicy amount. Now you're getting 3 at a time, I think. And still, it's still progression towards the whole system that we all know and love, which is the signature force system. As you can see here, it's been, I think, Rachel, and I think, where is it, and Garth. I've been getting, I think those are the two that they've been offering. I don't know, I can't remember right now if it's any more than that. I do think that them only being 1 round, I think, is a little bit better, as far as you having it, that it's very quick. So it's really add to the pace of the game, as far as the game being fast paced, that you log in and you're pretty much done really quickly. I felt like before some of it was a little bit long, because you had to go through 3 stages for each individual thing. Even if they wanted to do 3 stages for one of these specific bosses, maybe the Yuri fight or the Estelle, whatever, like, you know, the what is it, medium, hard, easy, whatever the heck it is, maybe they do it differently. But I did like that, you know, there was a difference. I do still think that the core rate should be somewhat harder, or at least this fight was somewhat harder, but a lot of our accounts are just so strong with signature force that a lot of the PvE aspect of the game is only difficult when they screw you in actual PvE, the story mode, when literally nothing works, or also the labyrinth, nothing works, none of your marks are working, everything's turned off, the enemy has everything that's broken, utilizing it against you. And it's pretty much like, I don't know, like, I feel like I don't even have a unit. You're pretty much using the base unit at that point, and it's kind of crappy. But I don't know, they need to work on that. But outside of that, I do think that this core raid was a good step in the right direction, as far as it being a little bit quicker to add into what the current state of the game is. I do still think that they need to bring in more difficult content, keep people engaged into the game, actually trying to strategize, and the only thing that we have for that right now is Europe's Labyrinth and the new chapters when they come out. But with the continue system, you can argue that you can pretty much maybe just spend a bunch of ZEUZ to get to it, especially if there's a significant reward or something of that nature to passing it. So that's all I have to say. YFOs in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. Like, comment, subscribe, and just remember that every day at the Kashino is your lucky day. I don't think I went too hard on it. I did it a little bit, but hey, you know what it is. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.